Cell phone video shows sheriff's deputies storming their way into the United Studios of Self-Defense Poway storefront Thursday after karate instructor 31-year-old Joshua Churchill was arrested near his home on suspicion of 500 charges, including multiple counts of sex with an underage teen over a 3-year period.
A longtime martial arts business owner, 51-year-old Timothy Gutierrez, is accused of sexually assaulting one of his young students. And there may be more victims.
A Boca Raton martial arts teacher is now behind bars this morning for allegedly having sex with a 12-year-old student. Police say 40-year-old Alexander Johnson lured the girl in by promising to help her with her poetry and promising to marry her when she was 18.
A martial arts instructor with ties to Charlotte faces sex crimes in New York. Frank DeMaria is accused of making young female students grab his genitals in a self-defense move called the Tiger Claw.
This is where kids came to learn karate, jiu-jitsu, and tai chi. But the owner and teacher, Sean Kaulasar, now in trouble for allegedly being inappropriate with one of his 14-year-old students.
A local man entrusted to teach his young students karate is accused of preying on them instead. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Riel Creighton in for Kimberly Hunt. Police arrested 38-year-old Juan Flores, a karate instructor outside the Z Ultimate Studio in Tierra Santa. 10 News reporter Candace Crone reports the charges involve lewd acts with minors.
Shocking accusations came out last week against the owner and head instructor of Gracie Barra Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Yakima. A 20-year-old girl told Yakima police she was made to have sex with her 35-year-old instructor, Cristiano Oliveira, at least 100 times when she was only a minor. Sadly, we're learning she may not be the only victim.
We're told 27-year-old Jonathan Lee Wilson, a former instructor here at Burke and Betancourt Taekwondo, had touched several girls inappropriately and is also suspected of raping a 12-year-old.
There's incidents that have occurred in and outside of the studio. A majority of those incidents occurred in the studio.
31-year-old Joseph Gales was an instructor at Vision Taekwondo in Fuquay-Varina for 7 years. The operator of the academy says the popular third-degree black belt instructor was suspended immediately after allegations surfaced that he was having an inappropriate relationship with a student.
A karate teacher from the Lehigh Valley is accused of taking advantage of one of his underage female students. Charges including statutory sexual assault and corruption of minors have been filed against 49-year-old Christopher Calgani. Police say he threatened 15-year-old student into having a sexual relationship with him.
He's the karate teacher who's accused of sexually assaulting one of his female students, and now Jimmy Walker faces some serious charges for what police say he did to a 15-year-old girl. The investigation started this summer after the girl made an outcry to her mother.
A former Taekwondo instructor already facing charges of child porn possession in Colony is now charged with multiple counts of rape. State police say Christopher Gallup raped a child under the age of 15 at a home in Rotterdam and also at a Taekwondo school in Duanesburg. They say he met the victim at the school. Police are asking anyone with information about Gallup to call them immediately.
A man who taught Taekwondo to local children is charged with molesting a 7-year-old girl. Police arrested Michael Koch of Springfield Township at his Summit Road home last night.
A Twin Cities man is in an Illinois jail tonight charged with sexually assaulting 3 girls in that state when he worked as a karate instructor. Court documents say Dean Furstenberg assaulted the girls between 2001 and 2006.
A martial arts instructor is facing charges tonight amid allegations of child sex abuse. According to Anne Arundel County Police, 26-year-old Jason Webb turned himself in after he reportedly had inappropriate sexual contact with a 14-year-old female student.
A man trusted with children will be sentenced today for molesting a student.
Earlier this year, Eric Protus, a karate instructor, pled guilty to several charges.
Parents trusted him to teach their kids self-defense, but tonight he's behind bars charged with child molestation. What the owner of Pax Karate is saying about the arrest of an instructor. Good evening, everyone. That local martial arts instructor was arrested in Kingsland, Georgia. Tonight, we're learning that he's been charged with 1 count of child molestation.
59-year-old Thomas Airy is being held at the Camden County Jail. He learned his trade at the feet of a local karate legend.
A former Hill Country karate instructor will serve life in prison for sexually assaulting a 12-year-old student.
He is 48-year-old Michael Backstrom, convicted Saturday and sentenced late last night. Backstrom taught at the American Taekwondo Association Black Belt Academy in Marble Falls. In addition to the sex assault, he was also found guilty of breaking into the girl's home.
A local karate instructor has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a student. The former student, now in his 40s, came forward with accusations against Jorge Alica last September. The victim said the abuse began back in 1984. The sentencing hearing is now set for July 24th. Alica taught karate at the Aikido Shobukan Dojo in Northwest D.C. He was convicted of child sex abuse in another case in 1995.
This is a martial arts studio where investigators say Shane Alvarez had sex with a teenager, one of his Taekwondo students.
A man who owns a martial arts studio and instructs children is accused of sexual assault. Aurora police say 31-year-old Raul Alberto Gutierrez Hernandez had sexual contact with teenage girls who were his students.
And now a crime alert. A former martial arts teacher in Albany behind bars accused of sexually abusing a child connected to his school. 57-year-old James Butler appeared in court on charges of sex abuse at his former Academy of Fighting Arts in Albany.
A man convicted of molesting a student at a martial arts school where he taught has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. 41-year-old John Duranick was handed his punishment today and still faces trial in 2 other similar cases.
Local karate coach accused of sexually assaulting a student, John.
And Emily, police say that it happened inside this karate studio in Arlington. It has been closed since the coach here was arrested yesterday. The instructor, 52-year-old Thomas Donahue, will be in court accused of sexually assaulting a 7-year-old girl here on several occasions.
And with those words, James Everett Detsky returns to court, this time to face sentencing for 3 counts of fondling. The incidents occurred at his martial arts studio in Tupelo. His sentence, 45 years.
This is 27-year-old Stephen Rementer of Tobyhanna after he gave up his right to a preliminary hearing. Rementer is facing child sex charges after police say he raped a 12-year-old girl who was also his karate student. This case is now heading to trial.
A karate instructor in Randolph is behind bars tonight after police say he sexually abused one of his students. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tracy Sable. 53-year-old Brad Perkins went in front of a judge today. He is charged with sexual abuse of a minor.
The master of this academy, Young Jin Shim, was supposed to hold classes here tonight. Instead, he is locked up in jail right now facing sex charges. Many of the parents who showed up here had no idea he's in big trouble with the law.
Hi, how are you? I'm James with Channel 5.
Oh, okay.
Looking for Juan Lopez.
58-year-old Juan Antonio Lopez is a registered convicted sex offender. His DPS file states he's a self-employed karate instructor who sexually assaulted an 8-year-old girl in 1990. He's not under supervision but is required to register with authorities. As of last week, his photo was on the wall at Family Martial Arts Leadership Academy in the 13,000 block of Western Oak, and on the Academy's website there was a Grandmaster Lopez listed as Dean of Instruction.
I always say it's the person right in front of your face that you least expect, but I just never thought it would happen to my child.
Her child, she says, is now a victim of sexual assault, allegedly by this man, 61-year-old Nick Ray Wickerham, a special education teacher at the school, now charged with a felony count of gross sexual imposition, a man this mother says she trusted with her daughter. He was also her martial arts instructor. She says the alleged incident happened twice on a Friday in mid-December.
Deputies say Ricky Coble was working as a karate teacher in Indian Trail in 1980 when he had a sleepover at his house. There were several tents for the children in the backyard. Lieutenant David Linto says a 39-year-old man recently came forward and said he was assaulted in one of those tents, and so was his friend.
The first one comes forward, it's like a dam breaks, and you'll start getting calls. You put his picture out, and I feel certain we'll get some more calls.
He's an Omaha youth minister, a martial arts instructor for children, a band and choir director.
His ministry's website describes Stuart Newman as a man with a desire to bring together the talented youth of the community. Tonight he's charged with sexually abusing a child, a 10-year-old girl.
Another victim comes forward, another charge for 29-year-old Charles Phillip Drake.
Investigators say Drake met both previous victims while he was an instructor with an Asian Taekwondo studio. They say he took at least one victim outside of the U.S. where he performed a sex act.
Steve, investigators say this is the second time he's accused of molesting a little girl. Police say the latest incident happened here at this Chandler Child Care Center while he was supposed to be giving the girl karate lessons.
He shouldn't be able to be around any kids.
Strong words from parents at this Chandler Child Care Center after police arrested 47-year-old Scott Flood, a karate teacher at the school. He's accused of inappropriately touching a 5-year-old girl during karate lessons.
A sex assault victim abused as a young boy by his karate instructor is coming forward, and he's urging the governor to sign a bill that would allow victims to continue to pursue old sex abuse claims. Rick Daysog has the story.
Patrick Martin is describing his former karate teacher, Michael Shimabukuro, who filled him with alcohol and sexually abused him repeatedly when he was just 14 years old. Shimabukuro was convicted of 3 counts of sex assault and is now serving a 5-year jail term.
Busted again. A Kalamazoo County karate instructor arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting 3 male students, but tonight he's out of jail again. Robert Earl Keith was arrested yesterday, and we're finding out that this isn't the first time that he's faced sex charges. 24-hour News 8's Steve Kelso was in the courtroom when Keith was arraigned today. Steve.
Good evening, Sue. Robert Keith was supposed to be teaching self-defense. Police say at least 3 of his students could have used some protection from him.